Because, Priscilla, as the UN had put out, in fact, it had a goal that by 2030, it was going to zero hunger around the world. And obviously, clearly, that is not going to happen now, according to the numbers that we are seeing. Where has everything gone wrong? Do you think that, as I'd put to Mercy as well, when you look at the numbers, we're talking about malnutrition and hunger on one side and obesity on the other. Do you think that we're looking at this in too large a scale, that Africa itself should be leading the solutions to Africa's problems with hunger and malnutrition?
There's absolutely no doubt. Thank you for having me. There's absolutely no doubt that Africa should be leading with solutions for Africa's problems. However, I think, when we're talking about this increase that we now see, it's not just a case of what is happening in Africa, but it's also a case of what is happening around the world. The United Kingdom, for instance, it's the fifth largest economy. But within this report, we're also told that this fifth largest economy in the world has 14.2 million people who are also living below poverty line. Now, when we look at those statistics and we ask the question, how did we arrive here? We've arrived here in the UK because of government cuts, because of, the investment that government has put into, programs that will sustain those who are below the food chain within the society. It's the same thing in Africa. African governments are not investing. For instance, we've heard the situation in Nigeria. We have a lot of internally displaced people. But the question is this, and we also have the level of insecurity that's been mentioned. Yeah. The question is, what is the government doing in those regards to, first of all, ensure that there is security, and also ensure that these subsistence farmers that sustain, the food sufficiency for the country are safe and able to continue to farm? You will find that most of these governments are somewhat lacking in their policies and in ensuring the safety of their people. So I think it's also a case of political will. It's a case of policies, and it's a case of, the choices that governments are making around the world. The only region at the moment that has, perhaps a slight increase, if you like, it's the Latin American and the Caribbean region. But outside of that, the rest of the world have had an increase. We're now at 800 million people. Yeah. Billion people. What are the governments doing about it? What are the UN doing about it? Yes, it's part of the Sustainable Development Goals, but
Indeed.
Are we now putting the right kind of pressure on governments?
Okay, and that's a very good point.